Salutations friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing ISO Gamma Super from Ellis Brooklyn. I filmed this video like 4 times. Every single time I've done something wrong, so let's hope this is the right time. Now, this fragrance is something that a lot of people have been interested in. Obviously, fragrances that usually have a general ISO-E super aroma chemical note, there's generally a lot of buzz around it. Normally, people just don't like the price tag on the fragrances that have just this or just really only have this. A lot of talk about Molecule 1, you can get it for cheaper, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to sit here and agree or disagree with that. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to review this, and I'm going to give you at the very end of the video, I'm going to kind of compare it to the more affordable options and also to Molecule 1. So if you want to know what I think about that, comparing this to its more cult-like predecessors and the more affordable options, I will let you guys know about that too. So let's review Ellis Brooklyn ISO Gamma Super Eau de Parfum. Let's go. I always like to let you guys know where I got a bottle of perfume. I bought this. This was purchased. This was not sent to me to review. And I have very good things to say about this and very bad things to say about this. So there is a good news, bad news to this review. Like I always like to say, these are my opinions. I am not an authority. I am basing my review on my own experiences wearing this fragrance. Now, normally I wear a fragrance for a few weeks. I give you my review. Sometimes my opinions change. With this fragrance specifically, and with most fragrances that are primarily ISO-E Super, they are not only touted as a fragrance, they are also marketed, and this one was too, as a fragrance primer. And I wear a lot of Molecule 1 as a fragrance primer and as a layering component. So I actually wore, I don't know if you know, I've only had this fragrance for like 2 to 3 weeks. I've been wearing this a bunch with other types of blending combos that I like to use with Molecule 1. So I've been using this instead and wearing this on its own, so that way I could really test it against Molecule 1. Now, this isn't an official, and what I mean by official is I'm not, obviously if you read the title, Molecule 1 isn't in the title, comparing this between Molecule 1 and this. But the reason why I'm mentioning this before I go into the reviews, and the reason why I'm telling you this before I go into the positive negative, has to do with the price point of this fragrance. This, in my opinion, is comparably on par priced with Molecule 1. And the biggest hype with Molecule 1, I wouldn't say the biggest hype, but the biggest critical response with Molecule 1 is how expensive it is for what it is. And that means that for 3.4 ounces, you're spending $135. And a lot of people think that is way too expensive. Why are you spending that much money on that when you could get it for cheap? Which is why at the end of this video, I'm going to be comparing this. This for 1.7 ounces is $100. Now that is how much Ellis Brooklyn, that's about the price point of their fragrances. So I'm not sitting here saying that Ellis Brooklyn is overcharging. That is the price point of their brand. And I don't find that price point to be overpriced. But since this fragrance is being marketed as a generally, and I'm dumbing this down based off of their marketing, but generally it's being marketed as an ISO-E Super fragrance that is also marketed as a fragrance primer. And if you consider like the price point of Molecule 1's travel size, 30 mils to their 3.4 ounces, this is about what you would pay for 1.7 ounces of Molecule 1. So I am going to be comparing this in smell and performance to Molecule 1, because if you're going to spend full retail price this, it better dang well smell better or smell the same and perform that way. And the reason why I'm saying that is the biggest issue I have with this is its performance, but the biggest positive I have with this is its smell. Now, if you're unfamiliar with how ISO-E Super smells, it is an aroma chemical. A lot of people really enjoy it. I would say one nice thing about Ellis Brooklyn is if you live near Sephora, they should probably have a tester of this. And I'm not sure if they're selling this at Ulta, but Ulta does have a great return policy, so you can try this. If you don't like it, you can return it. But ISO-E Super generally has a very dry, warm, woody smell. And on everybody, it smells a little bit different. I've smelled it on other people, it smelled a little bit saltier. Smelled it on other people, it smelled a little bit smokier. On me, it kind of smells like pencil shavings, and I really like that. I would say that it smells not identical to cedarwood, but if you guys understand kind of that distinctive cedarwood smell comparative to, say, kayak wood or sandalwood or oud, it smells very similar to cedarwood. So if you like those types of very aromatic, woody types of smells that are a little bit dry, a little bit warm, I think that this type of fragrance will be just fantastic. I like the way it smells on the skin. It smells like just a skin scent in regards to, it smells like skin. It smells really sexy, and it performs very, very well. What I like specifically with Ellis Brooklyn's branded batch of this beautiful fragrance is it smells slightly softer and warmer than some of the other fragrances out there that are primarily just ISOE Super. And I do like sometimes when they're a little bit sharper, a little bit louder, a little bit drier, a little bit saltier sometimes, but there's something kind of very warm, and I'm going to use this overused term that you guys love so much, a little bit more effervescent. Yeah, you guys love that word, I know it. But it does smell a little bit more rounded, a little bit more softer, and a little bit warmer. I enjoy that. It smells slightly more feminine and softer on the skin. And I think that smells really sexy and really pretty. And it smells like more of a true, what I would consider to be a skin scent. Like, what does skin smell like idealistically than what it realistically smells like? And we all know what that smells like, which is not very pleasant usually. That's the positive. As an ISOE Super smelling fragrance, if I were to close my eyes and smell all of them next to each other, this would probably be my favorite, honestly, next to Molecule 1. I like the softness of it. I like the roundness of it. I think it smells really, really nice. And that's about it. I have to kind of give you a disclaimer and also kind of explain my environment. So whenever I review fragrances with longevity, I kind of always tell you guys that I live in the tropics, so I don't expect crazy amounts of longevity. I also don't hold longevity over a fragrance's head as something that I find to be something that is a deal breaker for me. But we're looking at something that is pretty much like identical in price to a fragrance that smells almost identical to it with like the same ingredients, practically, almost, kind of. I'm not going to sit here and say that they are, but realistically they're dang close. So I would expect realistically the longevity to be close for the price point. Also, even though I used to live in the tropics, I used to live in like the Miami area, it's been very cold where I live. I live in northern central Florida right now. So it's been to the point where icicles have been forming on my car, and it's been in the 20s and the 30s, and I've been inside in air conditioning. So generally, even though I might be more forgiving for longevity in more hot, humid, summer, tropical-like environments, now is the time where I would expect fragrances to have better longevity and lasting power. And wearing Molecule 1, I get fantastic longevity out of that scent. And I have a review of that fragrance, and it was done years ago, so it is super cringe. But if you want to embarrass me by watching that super cringe video, I'll link it below. So I do have expectations for a specific amount of longevity for this scent. And I would hope it would pass the 4-hour mark on my skin, but sadly it doesn't even make the 2-hour mark. And that is where I have to critically say that this fragrance fails. Now, I have other fragrances from Ellis Brooklyn, and some of those fragrances I might not be super inspired by. They're beautiful fragrances, and they do last pretty good, and they smell pretty good. So I know that this brand can create fragrances that last longer on the skin. And I do know that generally fragrances that are pretty much just ISOE Super can last longer on the skin. The cheaper, more affordable, make it yourself stuff where you buy all the components yourself and compile it in your kitchen or in your garage or in your basement or in your bathroom, or the more higher end stuff like Molecule 1 and more. Those last longer on the skin than this guy. So I have to say that's just not good. Now, I thought maybe I was going nose blind to this because there have been a few instances where I have gone nose blind to specific fragrances, and these types of fragrances I have gone nose blind to. So I thought to myself, maybe I'm just having olfactive fatigue. Maybe I've been wearing this fragrance so much, I am just like completely oblivious to it. And so I stopped wearing it for a few days and I sprayed it again. And then like an hour later, I literally put my wrist up and I practically like inhaled my flesh and I couldn't smell anything on my skin. And I prep my skin when I review fragrances. I make sure I'm not using any scented body washes. I'm using unflavored, unscented moisturizers. Like I make sure I give each fragrance, if it's a $20 fragrance or $700 fragrance, I make sure I'm giving them all an equal shot in regards to longevity and smelling and all that jazz. And I couldn't smell it on my skin at all. And I went online, and I never do this, but I wanted to see what people said. And people were saying that, like on Fragrantica, were saying, I didn't smell it, but then it was wafting through the air. And I thought to myself, well, maybe I'm just missing it. Maybe I will be lucky like these people were, and I'll pick it up throughout the day. So I stopped thinking about it, because there are times where I don't think about a fragrance and I'll pick it up throughout the day. And I realized, no. So I couldn't smell it. And I was so sad. And I smelled my wrist again later, and it just wasn't there. And I was so sad. So on my skin, wearing just this, and I mean, I drowned myself in this. I was spraying like 5, 6 times, 8 times, 10 times. I drowned myself in Molecule 1. I couldn't smell it. It wasn't on my skin. It disappeared. And I sprayed my clothes. It was kind of there. Normally, if I spray my clothes, it's there all day. This just was not lasting on my skin. Now, the reason why I have an issue with that is because as a fragrance primer, if you're marketing this scent to kind of have a longer lasting effect for your fragrances, or to kind of be a blending agent for specific scents, you want your fragrance to last longer than 2 hours. So I tried this with some other scents that I use with Molecule 1, the ones that I know you can smell Molecule 1, and where I can pick up the distinctive notes of it throughout the entire lifespan of the scent. Not ones where Molecule 1 is kind of in the background, so I would know that this is working or this is not working. And sadly, as a priming fragrance, this lasted less. It was gone, I felt like, within 45 minutes. So I have to say that my critical review of this has to do with its performance. Now, projection, when this was present on my skin, when I could smell it, it was beautiful. It was light and wafty in the air. It was billowy. It was pretty. I could pick up whiffs and wafts of it as I was walking. It was very pretty. It had what seemed to be a very nice, moderate projection. I don't think it has much of sillage, because I don't think it would last in the air long enough. But in regards to being able to kind of pick it up and it being kind of more aromatic in regards to how it performed in regards to projection, it was really pretty. So I have to say that aside from its performance, it's a beautiful fragrance, but its performance is horrible. I could be wrong. So some people might have tried this and it lasts forever on their skin. And if you guys have had great longevity with this fragrance, please let me know in the comment section below, because I don't want to turn people off of this fragrance because it smells so good. I like the way that this has, like, again, a soft, warm roundness to it, because a lot of the and I'm using the ISOE Super Aroma chemicals, tend to be on the sharper, more dramatic pencil shaving woody vibes, and I enjoy that a lot, but not a lot of people want that. So if you like those scents but you want something a little bit softer and warmer, I think this is great smell-wise. I really think it's beautiful. I enjoy it, and I like the way it smells when it's kind of directly off of your skin. Some fragrances can smell a little bit sharp off of your skin, a little bit too heavy. This just has a nice, beautiful, very attractive, complementary projection off of the skin. It's gorgeous. I just wish it lasted longer than like an hour and a half. That's my biggest issue. So as a fragrance, I have to say I am saddened by the longevity, because if this even lasted 3 to 4 hours, I would have purchased a bottle of this because I think it's gorgeous. But unfortunately, I don't like the way that it performs, and I can't recommend it because Molecule 1, and we're going to get into the comparison, is like a beast, especially compared to this. Whether or not you agree with Molecule 1's price point, we have to say that you can definitely find cheaper versions of it. There's videos out there on how to make it yourself. And whether you have a make-it-yourself version or you pay top dollar for name brand aroma chemicals, I think that the lasting power on the skin is the biggest difference between those and this. The cheaper versions, make-it-yourself, and the Molecule 1s will all, at least most of them, last longer than this. So whether or not you are pro spending top dollar for Molecule 1 or anti spending top dollar for Molecule 1, I think that whatever your choice is, it's going to be better longevity, projection, sillage wise than this. So that's the biggest recommendation in regards to don't buy this, choose whichever one of those. Smell-wise, I will say that when it comes down to smell, body chemistry has a huge part to play. I've tried more economically priced ISOE Supers. I find they're slightly sharper on my skin than Molecule 1, so I just prefer Molecule 1 personally, but I can understand people being super against paying that much money, so I understand people being anti-Molecule 1. I myself say find it discount. You can find it super cheap. So that's the other pro for Molecule 1 against this. I mean, at some point you'll be able to find this super cheap. You might be able to find it Mercari, Swap, Partial, eBay, whichever. But for the most part, I think that you'll be able to find a super deal on Molecule 1, and it's going to last a lot longer on the skin. And I just prefer Molecule 1 in regards to how it smells, and prefer how it performs and how it layers and blends, and using it as a fragrance primer to kind of make the lifespan of a fragrance last longer. So at the end of the day, the biggest comparison has to do with the performance. Every other version that I have tried of an ISOE Super fragrance, if it's the more affordable versions, other versions like Glossier's, Molecule 1s, the make-it-yourselves, the indie brands, they've all performed better in regards to specifically longevity than this fragrance right here. And that's a pity because I do like the softer, rounder, more warm version of this fragrance. Unfortunately, the longevity on my skin does not warrant me spending more money on it because I do have Molecule 1 and I just would prefer that. And normally I'm like, I'll just buy it, who cares? But in this instance, it's a waste. So I will use through this. I will say that I purchased this on BoxyCharm. So this was like $12. So if I saw this for $12 again, I might pick up another just because I like the way it smells. But I don't know if I would even pay full price for a travel size. That's just my opinion based on my experience. Just because I think that doesn't mean that other people will think that. So if you have had a better experience in regards to its projection, or if you agree with me or disagree with me, please let me know in the comment section below. That way, if anyone is coming here trying to decide if they wanted to purchase this, they're not just using my experience, because my experience isn't the only experience. I know other people might have better experiences than me or the same. That way there's a variety of different reviews and opinions for people to make up their own mind if they wanted to invest in this scent. However, unfortunately, the longevity and performance of this scent leaves it lacking, and considering its price point is pretty much almost identical to Molecule 1, I would just say if you were going to pay this money for this fragrance, you might as well just buy Molecule 1. But that's just my opinion. In any case, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, I hope you guys are all happy and healthy and have a great day, month, year, whatever. And I will see you next time. Bye.